Yo people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another video. Chelsea versus Luton preview. Big up your damn selves in the building. Make sure you smash up the likes and subscribe. Listen, there is nothing other than destruction, chaos, carnage. I want goals galore. There is nothing else to say in this fixture. Luton, you must accept that this must not be a good time to play us. I know you're saying it could be, should be, because we're still working out our teething problems. No, we have not won yet. This is live prime time Friday, broadcasted around the world. Everybody will be watching, and we must turn on the glitz and glamour at home. We must not only beat them, but beat them convincingly, with conviction. We must deliver. We must deliver. It is imperative that I come away from this game with a smile on my face. If I come away from this game with anything other than such, it will be a madness for everyone involved. So do not even dare drop points, and don't even dare even try and shithouse your way through it either. It's gotta be convincing for me. I think we'd be doing a disservice to ourselves in the preseason that we just had if we didn't come away from a game like this playing well and looking good while doing it. So for me personally, before we get into the context of my team and who I'd like to see, because there's a lot going on, we have to start with the Mike Dean situation. He said it was a pathetic decision against Chelsea, where he allowed Cucurella's hair pull to go astray, to go amiss, and to not flag that as some sort of, wrong conduct from Romero, I believe. And listen, should have never have been a goal. Should have been a situation that we would have got a free kick from. And it's insane that he didn't see that. And it's all clear now. He's helped a mate out in Anthony Taylor, and he's on Sky Sports as a pundit, saying that the McAllister, red was no problem.
It's gone in quite high, and I understand where Paul's coming from. There's not a lot of force in the challenge, but he has caught him quite high, and his foot's just there. It's just a lazy leg. Probably doesn't need to make the challenge. The foot's quite high. He has caught him on the shin. It's not a wrong decision by the referee. He's gone in with the stud show and he's caught him on the shin. It's not a wrong decision. VAR would have looked at it. Happy with Tom's decision. Game moves on.
It's being overturned, a few days later. Incompetency, but also incompetency. Let's call it what it is. Corruption. Absolute corruption. When you take that moment to say, I'm going to represent the FA or the Premier League, and I'm going to do a job here. There's a colleague. It's not a friend. It's not, oh, my friend, I must help out my friend. It's actually, I need to do a job here for the integrity of the game. The game has no integrity in this country anymore in terms of the decision making, even in terms of what we're seeing in the first few weeks. Onana basically, backslapping Mandem in the face, no penalty. It's wild. It really is wild, but it's fine because, the standards here, they're just at an all-time low, and there's no consequences. There's no sort of, response actions where we can at least have a, conversation about this in a post-match interview. Why did you make this decision? No. At the World Cup, I don't have to speak about referees. In the Champions League, I don't even really have to speak about referees. But in the Premier League, in the best league in the world with the most money, we must speak about referees. So no problem. They've just exposed themselves. We already knew that they were absolutely, awful in terms of their decision making, in terms of not even being able to follow the rules of the game. Lee Mason, reinstated, didn't even draw the lines last year. So it's crazy, but it's fine. You just carry on doing what you're doing. No problem. There will be no consequences anyway. So it's not like anybody is going to flag that up and actually do anything about it. So we move. But Andre Santos going out on loan to Nottingham Forest. That's the first piece of news. A little bit disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I was starting the last couple of days to have a little bit of a think of how we can solve our situation at the 10 position in-house. And a lot of, the thoughts that came to my head was Andre Santos. He's played as an advanced 8 at Vasco in his former club. He's shown that he can score goals at the Under-20 World Cup with Brazil. Maybe, just maybe, in a 4-3-3, maybe he could be the most advanced. He could be the one getting into the box. When crosses do come in, maybe, just maybe, he might be able to contribute. He's not the tallest, but he was scoring a couple goals in the air. It was at a younger level, but it was just something where I was just thinking, tinkering in my head, could he be someone that could maybe contribute to some goals while we have these injuries. We know Ian Maatsen was used in kind of like an inside winger / 10 role over pre-season, had that lovely assist for Jackson, showed the composure, showed the intelligence to hit the ball early there and find that run instead of, dilly-dallying and dribbling and, running into corridors. Is he going to play in this game? Look, we're going to discuss it. We got a lot of injuries, so let's add the context. Chalobah out, linked with Bayern Munich loosely. Nkunku out. Fofana, James, Carney, Mudryk for a few days. Thankfully not too long, but is out for this. Badiashile just returned to training, and Broja still recovering from the ACL, back in training as well. We don't actually have much options here, I'm not going to lie to you. For a team that has, invested as heavily as we have, we know Lavia is not going to be in this game as well. Poch kind of confirmed he needs a couple of weeks to get to going as well. There isn't really much option in terms of really who's going to start here. Couple little, things to discuss. But my team, obviously Sanchez is in goal. Now, Gusto goes right back. I am going with a 4. It could become a 3 on the ball if Poch so sees it necessary. You could use Gusto as an overlapping, expansive fullback who can go forward, get crosses in, or you could tuck him in. We know that left side, those fullbacks, if it's not Cucurella, are really flying fullbacks and are really getting high and wide. Now, for me personally, I'm starting Decisive. I'm starting him. I know a lot of people are onto him from the performance against West Ham. He has this season, as I checked, won 100% of his aerial deals in the Premier League in those first 2 games. We are going up against 2 strikers, 6'4" and 6'1". If they are to play from the last week's game against Brighton, Luton strikers, they are physical. They are aerial, kind of dominant. That's their strengths. And really, Luton is all we're expecting is that kind of aerial potential hit. Long throws, set pieces, etc. So I'm looking at Decisive to be that guy who's won 100% of his aerial duels, to be very dominant for us aerially and to clean up, so to speak, next to Levi Colwill. I am not in this situation where I'm giving up on him. Listen, he's only played 2 games. The Liverpool second half was really encouraging from him and everyone. Nobody was good defensively in the second half against West Ham. He was at fault. Silva was not good in that moment. Basically musical statues. Colwill was bullied and bossed. So and Colwill made a mistake on the Salah goal, maybe you could say as well. Couldn't stop that. Top player, it happens. It's too early to write him off. It's too early to see the grief I'm seeing him get. Listen, nobody was good in that moment. So I'm going to give him another opportunity personally in my team. I don't think, we should be, like I said, squeezing the sponge on Silva. There are games where you should rest him, leave him out. Too early in the season to say he needs to rest, but I think it's a good opportunity to give a vote of confidence to Decisive, who we're going to need. And obviously with Chalobah injured as well. If you can't trust him at home to Luton, then who can you trust him against? I think he's more than capable of doing a job here at home to Luton, at Stamford Bridge, at home. If you can't trust him here, then you'll never trust him. So for me personally, I want to get his confidence levels back up. I want these guys to get a clean sheet under their belt, and I think this is the perfect opportunity to do that. They're physical strikers. You're a dominant aerial centre-back. Get it done. So now we move over to the left-back position. And for me, it's uncomfortable for a lot. And I know he's vice-captain. But if I'm thinking of somebody where we're going up against a low block, right? And listen, the off-the-ball runs from Chilwell are great. The ball striking is great. I think Maatsen should be able to do similar in terms of the off-the-ball movement and also the ball striking. He's a very good shooter. Saw that in pre-season. But where Maatsen edges it for me against a low block especially is the little link-up play. The little give and goes, the 1-2s, the potential pass, like I said. If he is to invert and if he is to go forward, I want him to be able to tuck in that left kind of half space in the attack and to be able to help us in those moments. And I think he's more, you see Chilwell, he gets so high up the pitch. Sometimes you see him high centrally, sometimes you see him high and wide, but you do see him getting into really advanced areas. I think Maatsen is better in those areas on the ball. Like I said, Chilwell off the ball making those runs. If you're playing predominantly down the right and he's the guy that you're hitting on the far post, cool. But if we're building and playing general play, I'm talking just pass for pass, what angles are you showing for? I think Chilwell is very strong on his left and he's not really trying to use his right, which sometimes shuts off passing lanes, shuts off opportunities. I just think Maatsen's more fluid and better on the ball. So I'm going to use him at left back because he is going to get high and wide. He is going to get far forward. But I think if he does get central, he's shown in pre-season he can operate in central areas. People have been talking about using him as a 10. So it's just an extra kind of attacking player to have more versatility, interchange, and can play in those areas if need be. Now, The reason why I've also done that is because I have Madueke to start, but I have him to start on the left wing. I don't think we should move Sterling. Goes without saying that Enzo and Caicedo are going to start in the middle. Poch has basically already said Caicedo's starting. We have no Lavia. Of course, it's going to be them too. And I think Enzo from deep against a low block, he loves making those long switches, those long passes. So that's fair. But on the right wing, I've kept Sterling out there. I think, listen, you have a performance that you have against West Ham. Why move him? You know, I know Modric is not playing, but I wouldn't want to just move Sterling over. Let him play where he's playing. He was happy against West Ham. He was the best player for us. He was dangerous. He was going past players. He was enjoying himself. So just don't change anything there. Gusto played behind him. Leave that whole side exactly the same. You're adding Caicedo into the midfield, and yeah, perfect. You know, that's now giving us extra quality in there. His debut wasn't great, but I have no doubts about him, as I've said before. So Sterling stays over there. Madueke on the left to add really just a lot of width now. You know, you got Sterling on the right, you got Madueke on the left. Loads of width. I'm simplifying Madueke's game a lot more by putting him on the left. You're on your favoured left foot, kind of like a Leroy Sané kind of esque kind of player. Again, your combinations, your link-ups, your darting runs, but now you're on your left foot. So whether you're cutting it back for a cross or you're shooting, you're on your left foot. I think when he's cut inside on his left foot, his shots haven't been the most crisp. They haven't been the most clean. You look at the goal that Saka scored for Arsenal the other day. Wonderful strike, far corner, great whip and bend on it. Madueke hasn't shown that. So this whole cutting inside thing for Madueke simply isn't, it's not a threat. Against a low block, crowded, it's not something I'm relying upon. I'm not thinking Madueke on the right hand side is going to cut in and score a screamer. So I'm trying to think, okay, if he's going the other way on the right hand side, he's using his right foot. So his cutback is not going to be crisp. It's not going to be, you know, it's not going to be calm and composed. It's going to be a bit bobbly. So if I'm not getting the cutting in and I'm not getting the, you know, fantastic decision making or crisp cutback with the right foot, which I'm not, why not just play him on the left? Play him on the left, he's on his left foot, he could take his shots across goal if he's making an inverted run. Him and Maatsen can interchange, Maatsen can go wide, Madueke can tuck in. They can, you know, like I said, use each other as underlapping runners, you know, just decoys whenever they want. Interchange is there. And if you're high and wide and you're holding the width, then again, you've got the opportunity to use Maatsen as an underlapping runner in my team if it's Chilwell. So be it same, you know, similar situation. You can make that underlapping pass and take advantage of that to try and break that defensive block, or you can whip in across. I've got more confidence at this point in him being able to cross, even though I'm not seeing loads. Cross it with your left foot on that left hand side, then potentially, you know, or cut back, then potentially take shots. So that's how I'm seeing it. I've got Jackson up front, and in the 10 position / midfield 8, there isn't really much option but Gallagher, especially when I'm playing Maatsen as a left back. My plan in my head is Gallagher and Maatsen kind of end up doubling up in the half spaces. When Maatsen gets really far forward, if he tucks in, then you've got effectively two players kind of counter pressing high up the pitch behind Jackson, providing that link. You know my feelings in Gallagher in terms of the higher positions in the 10. I've got my concerns. It's why I was considering Santos, because, you know, in terms of trapping the ball, you know, close quarters, picking it up in tight spaces, dribbling past opponents, playing a cutting pass, that's where my doubts come. Pressing people, helping us, you know, turn over the ball in terms of winning it high up the pitch, taking shots, Gallagher can do that. So I've got Ian Maatsen in there because, like I said, if I'm doubling up in the half spaces, very similar to what Man City do, what Arsenal do, if I'm doubling up in the half spaces and I'm tucking in Augusto, then I want it to be Ian Maatsen over Chilwell. I don't want to see Chilwell and Gallagher in the half spaces, if you get what I'm saying. So I'm going with Maatsen just to add a bit more technical security, receiving the ball, a bit more composure with the pass, and also, like I said, just doubling up in there because we're going up against low block. We need to get numbers forward, and there you are. There's not really much more to it. So that's my team. For me, with Luton, they played a 3-5-2 last week. The only thing I'm really taking of note is obviously the two strikers, like I said, 6'1" and 6'4". A lot of aerial dominance there, potential aerial threat. We need to be handling set pieces, long throws, all those things. And that's why I've got those guys out there to hopefully handle business. So that's my team. Pochettino did speak on Enzo and Gallagher kind of being the options for the 10. And we have Caicedo there, so they could be both 8s as well in a 3-man midfield. They take it in turns to go forward, which would be nice. I think Gallagher, the one thing I will say about him, he had this really good whip, this cross, that we haven't really always utilised. And I think him as a right-sided 8, potentially you get more whip of those crosses coming in. You know, there's more opportunity for him to do that. And like I said, if you're not playing him as an actual 10, you're not playing through him and you can kind of use him as an outlet, as an off-the-ball runner from the side, instead of playing through him as a 10 and having him as your focal point, as your, not your focal point, but having him as your fulcrum of the team, the epicenter of the team. I don't want him to be that. So it will be interesting to see who he chooses as that more advanced player. Maybe it will be Gallagher tucking in next to Caicedo, and it'll be Enzo further forward. Who knows? We'll have to see. When we've seen Gallagher play deeper. And then if it's Enzo higher up, then same applies with Matson in those areas. So he has hinted as well, Pochettino, on getting a 9. We'll have to see who that is. I've spoken about Taremi. I don't want to overkill. I've already explained my reasoning as to why I'd go for him if he gets the number 9, if he was to be signed. But he wants that curse to be broken, so to speak. So we'll see. But that's really all it is, 2 people. There's not really much more about this game. Caicedo is ready to go. Lavia is not. That's my team, and we must win. That's what I must say. We absolutely must win. Under no circumstances can we do anything other than that. Otherwise, it will be a shit show. So make sure you smash up the likes. Make sure you subscribe. Let me know what you think of my team. I try to explain my logic as best as I can in terms of general play, what I would like to see. If you disagree. And also let me know who you'd want as that, I guess, attacking signing, right? There's been a lot of detail going into who that might be, the attributes and contrast with the players that are injured and not potentially just double, triple stacking on the same profile. So when they do come back, that the player that we've signed right now is still of use to us. So it's not just, you know, sitting in the depth chart somewhere silly. But let me know what you think in terms of not a Kudus, because, you know, that's not something we're pursuing, not even a Cherky. Give me something different. Give me a left field kind of player that's not really been mentioned much in the comments, who we should be bringing in as that one final potential attacking addition. I've given you Taremi. You tell me who you want. Not a bait name, someone that hasn't been mentioned, because we're not exactly linked with some of our favourite targets anyway. Seems like they're going elsewhere, they're staying put. So talk to me, let me know. Big up. I will chat to you very soon. Big up your damn selves as always. In a bit, people. Peace. Thank you.